Welcome back, everyone, for another edition of the 70 Chipcast. This episode, we're going to be covering the upcoming matchup against the Detroit Lions. It's going to be quite a flashback to the divisional round of last year, that iconic game that we saw go down in Detroit last year. So many great memories from that, so much shock, and just overall fun, how fun that game was. Um, Looking back on that game is going to be probably more enjoyable than the actual game coming up this week is going to be. But it remembering that game from last year reinforces the idea that it truly is any given Sunday that anything can happen. Because we weren't expected to win that game. And I
Right.
guarantee you fans listening out there, you didn't think we were going to win that game either. I remember when we did our preview for that game last year, we were like, well, if you can stay competitive, I'll be happy. Like as long as we just don't get completely outclassed and embarrassed on
Right.
national television like we did last week,
Yes.
um, it would be a win. Um, but remembering that game from last year is going to be a good reminder that, you know what, we're not in a great place right now. But the Lions really kind of aren't either. They're kind of going through their own struggles. You mentioned in the last episode where there might be potentially an opportunity here to pull one out, when no one's expecting us to. And, with Miami coming up in Madrid, and then you got a bye week, you can get to 5-6, then we have some new hope here. It's not a lot, but it's something.
Agreed. Focus on this game any given Sunday. If you pull it off, it's amazing how different things can feel after 1 week. We were all feeling pretty draggy early in the season, and then we turned around and beat the Chargers, and we're like, heck yeah, here we go. And then it all went
Yeah.
downhill from there. Things can change quick in this league. You don't ever want to give up. You want to focus on what's in front of you. I know that's cliche, but it shouldn't be. It's, hey, we're professionals. We get up, we focus, we do our job. We're thankful we're making millions of dollars and getting to play a game on top of it. Let's go, trot out our best effort here. And if we do that, if we're competitive, I'll feel pretty good. If we win, I'll feel even better. So here we go. Detroit Lions, everybody.
Yes, sir. And we're gonna waste no time getting into that. If you want to see our reactions to the previous game, make sure you go check out that video. And while you're at it, go ahead and subscribe to this channel here, Pro Football Enterprises. Set notifications for all other videos that Ben posts about different offenses in the NFL, different future prospects that are currently playing college ball. Some great content on this channel, so make sure you're subscribed to that and set notifications. And while you're at it, go ahead and like this video and leave a comment. Um, Ben, this game that's coming up against the Detroit Lions is not going to be an easy one. Even though the Lions are going through their own bit of struggles right now, it's still a a tall task to say the least. Um, first of all, I thank you for including this graphic here. I'll move this us aside here for a second. Um, this Sonny Jurgensen post here, with us actually beating Detroit back in the 60s here.
Do you remember that
Um,
game as well as I do, Robertson, that
oh, that's
1968 game?
so well, Ben. That who can forget that 31-10
Yeah.
trouncing of the Detroit Lions back in 1968? But um, one thing I will mention is that helmet there, that needs to
Yes.
come back. That
Yes.
so I will I didn't say this in the last episode. I promise I won't get far off track, but the uniforms, the old uniforms, just perfect. Other than the helmet. That was my main gripe, was the helmet. But in all the pregame kind of lead up, all the video footage, like, the hype footage and all that, every single player was carrying around that dang spear. The spear was like almost the focus of the video. You had this hooded figure that was carrying around the spear. The spear was on fire. Jayden was holding the spear. Luvu was holding the spear. Like everyone was holding this dang spear. Stop. You know what you're doing. Okay, but it wasn't Native American imagery. It was the Roman Empire type of,
Okay.
imagery, but we all know what they were doing, you know.
Right.
So stop messing around. Bring it back. I don't care under what context. Just give us the old uniforms, give us that gosh darn helmet, and move on with life, and we'll be happy. Truly. I mean, I think we would be, it's an unfortunate compromise, but it is a compromise that I think would bring a lot of people back. Um, Not everybody, but bring some people back. And it would get us kind of, it add an extra layer of, happiness and pride for us fans. I really feel that way. So thank you for including that.
You
Um,
could, yeah, absolutely. By the way, quick side note, if you're listening and you actually do remember the 1968 season and specifically this game, please let us know in the comments or hit us
yes.
up on X. I'm at Ben Park 79 at Ben Park 79. We would love to hear from you if you actually remember this game or this season. That would be very exciting to me. Uniforms. If listen, you can call them the Washington Emperors, you can call them the Legionnaires, you can call
Yeah.
them the Centurions. I don't care. If you bring back that helmet right there, that old 1968 logo, the spear on the side, and you bring back the uniform that you wore on Sunday night, all that beautiful uniform, and change that helmet color back to what it was
Yeah. Hmm.
for all those years instead of what it is right now, because it's not bad, but it just doesn't look right with the uniform. It doesn't
No.
match the uniform. So
Nope.
change that, get rid of this W on the side, and give me a spear. I'll be happy with that. I will be very happy with that. I will love on that. Give me my colors back. I got to have my colors back. Give me that old spear right there. And then you can give me all the Roman imagery you want to. I'll be happy, you know? But yes, please bring all that back next season.
Bring it back. All right. So I'll move us back over to top right here. All right. Tell us how bad, or tell us what how bad this is going to end up being, potentially, because uh the Lions they're pretty good,
Here,
aren't they?
here's the scouting report on the Lions. They're real good. That's it.
You gave a similar scouting report last week when we were talking about the Seahawks, and we saw how that game ended up.
Yeah,
So
I
I'm
did.
looking for I'm looking for some weaknesses here. Some of these struggles that the Lions are going through, I want us to
Yes,
try to exploit those if we're even capable of doing so.
yes.
Um,
I'm not
so
sure we are, but they okay. There's some weaknesses. All joking aside, let's go through a real scouted report here. I'll start in the middle with just my grades on these position groups. They're not bad anywhere. Seriously, they're good everywhere, right? I mean, you see the weaknesses from a personnel standpoint. It's defensive tackle, but they're decent there. The cornerbacks haven't exactly been great this year, but they're still above average. They're still on the plus side of things. I like the cornerbacks just fine. But then everywhere else, man, they're strong. I love their safeties. And Kirby Joseph hasn't even played as well this year as he did last year, but I still love their safeties. I really enjoy this pair of safeties they've got back there. The edge rushers, that's mainly Aiden Hutchinson holding that grade up right there. After that, it's not significant, but Hutchinson alone is a handful, right? The linebackers, boy, I really like them. Anzalone is a good linebacker, but the other young guy, Jack, I can't remember his freaking
Jack
last
Campbell.
name. Yes, man, thank you. He's had a heck of a season, kind of a breakout year, right? Good at linebacker. Wide receiver is not great once you get past Amon-Ra St. Brown. But still, I mean, Jameson Williams does his thing. They're fine at wide receiver, especially when you consider Amon-Ra St. Brown. Tight end, they're good. I guess it's Hawkinson. I think I'm pretty sure this offensive
Hmm.
line is different this year. It's still really good in run blocking. Pass blocking, they're not the greatest. I think if we're looking for a way to get to them, we might be able to. If we had a rush, you mentioned, I'm not sure we can exploit the weaknesses. They're not as strong in pass blocking this year. It's significantly down as they were in years past. It's just not the same. You combine that with the fact that their wide receivers, they got a tight end, but their wide receivers aren't probably as good as they were the past year or two as a group. Maybe we got a little something there to work with, right? And I think that's slowing down the offense just a little bit this year. But, from a personnel standpoint, man, I'll stop right there before I get on offense and defense rankings. Just from a personnel standpoint, They're just pretty good everywhere, man. It's hard to really find a true weakness here.
Yeah, you're not wrong. They're just a really good overall team. This might not be the best Lions team over the past 2, 3 seasons, but I mean, I think we talked about it even going into the season that this team should still win 11, 12 games, very possible to. Now, given the state of the NFC, maybe not. The NFC this year is incredibly competitive. I mean, heck, the Carolina Panthers are 5-4, man. I mean, that who saw that coming?
They are.
Uh, there's some very competitive teams that we were not expecting in the NFC. So maybe they don't end up with that 11, 12 win season, but man, they're still going to be sitting pretty high when it's all said and done.
They are, and they've played. Listen, they played some pretty good teams too, which is that's not going to help your record any. On the defensive side, over there on the right side of the screen, biggest weakness there, they're not great at stopping you in red zone. So if you can get to the red zone, which is not easy, but if you can get to the red zone, you've got a pretty good chance of racking up a touchdown against them. Okay, so that's something right there. That'll be key to one of my keys later on. But keep that in mind. If you can move the football down the field against them somehow, they're not great at stopping you from scoring touchdowns there in the red zone area. But you look all up and down this defensive side here on the right hand side. Lots of green, man. They're pretty good at yards per game, not giving up a ton there. They're number 8. Points per game, they're down at 14th, but still that's not bad. They're just not going to give up a lot on average. And everything else, a lot of green. Defensive EPA, they're 4th. Man, it is interesting. This is going to be big for one of my keys later too. They're very good at sacks, number 2 in the league, and they're very good at turnovers, number 6 in the league. So that's something they like to do. They love that big play generation, right? So keep that in mind. If you can get to the red zone on them, you probably can. You have a good chance of scoring a touchdown, not just a field goal. But they love to try to get sacks and turnovers on you before you ever get to the red zone. So that's going to play in big to the keys later. On the offensive side of the football, when Detroit's got the football, again, it's a very good offense. It's a top 10 offense almost any way you look at it. But they're not great on third downs for some reason. I haven't exactly dived deep enough to tell you why, but third downs, they're not doing great. This is still a very good offense, man. Yards per game, points per game, rushing yards per game. They can throw it, EPA per play, red zone, they're good. It's a really good offense. They're going to score a lot of points. I forget what are they up at? I think they're scoring 29 points a game, 29 and a half points a game is what they're at. So it's a really good offense. They're going to put up a bunch of points, typically speaking. They're just very consistent. They're not as explosive, for instance, as say, I don't know, I'm drawing a blank. They're not the most explosive offense in the world, but they're very consistent. They consistently going to score a lot of points one game to the next.
So I know you're going to get to our keys here in a couple of minutes, but let me give you the Lions keys to the game. Uh, Run the ball. This could be one of those. They could run the football with Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, and Jared Goff not drop back once.
Yes.
This could be like that Bill
Yes.
Belichick game from a few years ago where Mac Jones, I think, had like 5, 6 passing attempts,
Right.
and they still won by a pretty healthy margin. To
Yes.
me, this is based on what you're saying is okay. They're not great on third down. They're not great in the red zone, but they run the ball pretty well. The offensive line doesn't pass block very well, so let's just run block. Our team can't stop the run, so let's just do what we didn't do last year in the divisional game and run the ball with some consistency and get 4 or 5 yards of play, and that's going to convert you on third downs for sure. So that's what I'm hearing you say.
It's a great point. And just to be clear, on offense, they actually are good in the red zone. But everything you just said is true right there. Detroit should be trying to run the football on us. Yes, we have proven to not be very good at it the past 4 weeks now. And they are really good at running the football. They've got 2 guys who can do it. That's no secret. Everybody knows that. Detroit should be trying to run the football on us for sure.
Yeah, I mean, uh, Offense is good. Defense is, not as good, but still pretty gosh darn good, especially sacks and turnovers. We've been turning the ball over lately. We can't, especially last week against Seattle, we couldn't protect Jaden. So not a great matchup overall. Um, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's not. And we can go ahead and get into the first key if you want, but at least you're playing at home as opposed to the road. So that's a big deal right there. And the Lions, with that 5-3 record, I think it is, they have not proven to be unbeatable. They do have some flaws. I actually think this is the part of the season where you do see the fact that those coordinators are not there. They've switched coordinators. The
Hmm.
coordinators are doing fine, but really the offense this year for the Lions is running the football with a lot. They're relying on the run a lot more this year than they have the past couple of seasons. I've noticed that repeatedly with them. So while statistically it may not look a lot different, people say, "Hey, there's no difference." There is a difference. Ben Johnson would run the football. He loved to do it, but he had his hand on that passing game and knew how to push every single button. He was magnificent at that, and he and Jared Goff worked so well at that. So while statistically it's still a very good offense, it's relying much more on the run this year as far as their regular balance of the offense. And they are still very much able to throw the football, but it's just not the same. And I think you can see that. And this defense just is not. This defense is trying to get more big plays out of it than I would like to have seen them do than what more than what I saw from them when they were healthy last year. So keep that. All right, key number one here. You've already got it. Stop the run. we got
Yeah.
If we are going to win this game, we're going to have to stop Detroit Lions from running the football. And, that might be playing four big defensive linemen. Okay. We may have to do that. While I'd love to keep Wagner off the field on passing downs, if it's 2nd and 6, 3rd and 8, I'd love to keep, we need him on the field for, say, first downs, play him close to the line. Just keep him tight there. That's what we really need to do here. We got to figure out a way to stop the running game, and that's going to be a couple of the ways I would love to do it. But keep Wagner off for some of the passing downs. On the passing downs, I really would like to see us zone up a lot, zone up as much as we can. All right, but first and foremost, we got to stop the run. We've got to force Detroit to start throwing the football, which this year we haven't been very good at stopping, unfortunately. Key number
So
two. I'm
I
sorry,
would
yeah.
add really quick that what I would almost keep Wagner off the field when Gibbs is in because, naturally when you're, if you're especially if you're playing a man defense there, Wagner is going to get matched up on Gibbs, and that's just a complete mismatch. And even if it's a running play, if they send Gibbs on a stretch zone, run, then Wagner's not going to be able to get to the hole fast enough. And we saw that, against Seattle where, Walker just got to the corner faster than Wagner did. And, it wasn't a massive
Yeah,
gain, but,
right.
had Wagner been had the speed to get there, he would have, not lost yards, but it would have been a minimal game instead of a moderate to good gain. So I I love Wagner. He's, top three, I think, still in the NFL in tackles right now, but still,
Mm.
man, he's becoming a liability. And it's weird saying that about a Hall of Fame linebacker, but it's just, I mean, happened with London Fletcher when he was here and in his old age. I mean, no one doubted his greatness, no one doubted his productivity, but there's just certain aspects of his game right now where he's a liability.
I think that's actually a great point. And so, yeah, when it comes to those type of plays, I'm more than happy to keep Wagner off of the field. I really am, because it's a great point about those stretch runs and about them just sending. It may look like a running situation, running down, but yeah, if they just send Gibbs even out there on the flat to go catch a pass, that's not going to end well for us either. So again, I'm playing a ton of zone here, but I want to keep enough bodies here. Matter of fact, what I want to do is play cover three because that allows me to play 8 guys in the box. I can kind of at least keep a stacked box. I would love to do that out of nickel or dime. So I want to go nickel or dime, cover three, keep 8 guys in the box. I'm not looking to shut Gibbs and Montgomery down at the line of scrimmage or behind it. I don't necessarily think we've got the guns for that. but I would love to just crowd it up and limit that. I feel like we can certainly do that.
Yeah, Tyler Owens has been kind of the big nickel type of guy whenever they aren't playing their base defense when they want to add some size, but they want some speed as well. They've been putting Tyler Owens in there, who largely hasn't really been effective, and been kind of a liability in coverage, but that's kind of been their plan to follow what you're stating. But so he's an undrafted guy, so maybe give him some time. But they're trying at least.
Let's go to point number two. That is clog up the underneath route. So, and listen, you can go back and forth between cover two and cover three, but I'd love to just have a lot of bodies. You mentioned this, I think, a week or so ago. What I was looking for, yeah, I'm just looking to have five guys on those underneath zones, right? Have a guy for each zone. I'm not necessarily expecting to just shut down the passing game. I don't think we're capable of that. I just want to tackle these guys as soon as they catch the football. That's enough. I will be very happy if we do that. Okay. So if we can slow down the run game a little bit, make them throw the football a little bit, and then play some nice zone coverage where we just tackle them as soon as they catch it. I don't think that's asking too much here. Then I'll be very happy with that, and that would give us a chance. That would slow down the Lions. And listen, the Lions have no trouble. They don't mind going with 7, 8 minute drives. They're fine with that. But I'm also fine with that. I'm fine with slowing this game down. That's not going to bother me at all, especially if they're not dominating us in the run game. They're having to mix and match. They're having to go for it on an occasional fourth down. They're having to convert a difficult third down. I'm okay with that. I'm all right trying to play that style of game for sure. Number three, be patient on offense. I mentioned this back when I was doing the scouting report. I said, hey, Lions defense is not great in the red zone. If you can get the red zone, they would love to score that you can possibly score a touchdown on them more than likely. But I also stated that they love sacks and turnovers, which means they're pretty aggressive. They're trying to get to you early and quick. So take what
Mhm.
little bit of yardage is there. This would be true even if Jaden Daniels was there. But if you're at 3 yards of play, 3.5 yards of play, and you're going for it on fourth down and you're converting more than half of those fourth downs, you've got something to work with. You keep the ball, you move the ball downfield a little bit longer. I'm okay with long drives here, but you have to be patient to do that, right? What you cannot do is have Mariota sit back there on first down and throw an incompletion, and then you're at 2nd and 10. You can't
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah.
So whether you hand the ball off or run a short pass and play, and you get 3 yards and it's 2nd and 7, that's important. Okay. And same thing on second down. You can't have Mariota drop back, scan the field, and either throw an incompletion or take a sack. You can't do that. So each play needs to be patient. Get the 3 yards that's there. If it's 4 yards, 8 yards, beautiful. But get the three. That's good enough. Okay. Especially if you're willing to go for it on fourth downs, which of course there's no reason not to be going for it on fourth downs, right? So be patient on offense. I'm not trying to do the typical David and Goliath thing where we're just hoping we get lucky here. Be patient. Let's move the football. Let's pick up a couple of first downs. That confidence will grow, as we see that this Lions defense is not unbeatable. They're very good, but they're not unbeatable. And if that leads us into the red zone, there's a very good chance we can convert that into a touchdown. So be patient on offense. Be patient. Take what's there. Absolutely take what's there.
So I guess a question about that one, because you've said for weeks to be aggressive on third and fourth down.
Yes.
So I don't feel like we were aggressive enough on fourth down, especially given the situations that we inevitably put ourselves in
Yes.
last week.
Agreed.
So is is there a caveat to the be patient where it's like, man, we got nothing to lose? Like, as a matter of fact, we need this to where it's like, I don't want to be overly aggressive. I don't want to be stupid, you know. But at the same time, it's be like, okay, it's 4th and 7 here. It's like, like should like it's probably a situation where we would punt, but we're not going to because we really need this. Like, is that something that you're okay with? If not okay with it, like, are you going to encourage that? Like, how far does this patience go on offense? You know what I'm saying?
Yes, and that's an important question to ask. So 4th and 7, let's say if we're on our own 45-yard line, that's probably pushing it a little bit. I'm probably not gonna get all aggressive and go for that. But dang it, I'm gonna be mad if I'm at 4th and 7. Where I want the patience at is first, second, third down. Let's get every 2, 3 yards we can get. If we do that, in theory, we should be at 4th and 2, or we should have
Yeah.
already gotten a first down. That's
Yeah.
that's what I'm wanting there. But yeah, as soon as we get to the 50-yard line, 4th and 3, 4th and 4, I think we should be going for those. So fourth down aggressive. I think we should be very aggressive, fairly aggressive on fourth downs, but patient on those other downs. Take what yardage is given. That's where I'm at with that.
Fair enough. I would think that overall it'd be great if you could do all this, but it's still going to come back to kind of like the recurring theme of 2025 is you cannot be beating yourself. Whether that's
Yes.
in penalties, whether that's in missed opportunities,
Mm.
whether that's in turning the ball over. Um,
Just don't drop any passes. How about that for a start? You know,
Simple stuff, yeah. Let's hold on to the football. Let's not fumble the football. Let's hold on to the football. And when it
that's a
hits our
good start.
hands, we're going to catch it, whether you're on offense, defense, we're going to catch every pass that comes our way.
Mm.
That would be an excellent start. But I don't know if that would, in and of itself, would be enough, but it'd certainly be a start.
Right. It'd be a start. And I tell you, I'm going to go cliche here again. The good teams don't beat themselves, right? But the good teams, say like the Patriots for all those years, the Chiefs, they stress catching the ball and getting that 4 yards. They stress that. They stress not fumbling the football. They stress not getting before the whistle penalties or after the whistle penalties. They stress
Hmm.
that. That's not an afterthought. They stress that. They understand that if we're doing all those things, the confidence is going to start to build up a little bit. And now we can do more of the advanced stuff. But if we're not doing those things, we can't do any of the advanced things. In fact, we get worse. I
Yeah.
mean, it starts to fall apart. We're not this bad of a team, but we're playing this bad, and it
Yeah.
goes all the way back to the start of the year, not necessarily game one, but game 2, 3, and 4, where we can't catch a ball. We're dropping the passes. We can't hang on to the ball. We're fumbling. We're committing penalties every week except for one, basically. And I mean, it just goes on and on. You're 100% right. Let's at least just start with that. Try out that other stuff later.
All right. Well, it should be an interesting week to say the least. I'm hopeful uh that this could be one of those any given Sunday type of deals and that maybe even if we don't end up winning the game, which is going to be quite unfortunate if we don't,
Yeah.
but I at least want to look like we've improved somewhere. And I know we're not going to be all areas are now fixed. Everything is done, like no issues where everything's good. I know that's not probable. Even it's not even probable enough to be unlikely. It's rather impossible at this point. But I want to see some improvements in one, maybe two areas. Like not turning the football over, not fumbling, or giving the ball away, or dropping passes, like you mentioned. Like just one or two areas where I just want to see improvement. That's, I feel like at this point, that's all you can ask for. But I do have some hope left. It's waning, but I do have some left, and getting a win this week would be great. Ben, you do a great job on this channel, and I like shouting you out, and especially, I mean, you kind of gave audience at the beginning of the show a taste about the uh, offensive videos and stuff like that, but wanted to just kind of let you speak more on content you got on this channel and anything on Box Score.
Yeah, I'll go back to and by the way, my hope for this season to be anything successful is quickly waning. My hope for every week to win it is not though. There's no reason that week to week we can't go into these games and think, hey, we got a chance to win this week. So I
Right.
that will always hold strong for me. The channel, we actually did a Detroit Lions offensive video a few weeks ago where we studied this Lions offense. That video still holds up. I think in that video I recommended cover two is what I was recommending. I've got cover three this week for the Commanders just because we've been so horrendous at stopping the pass. I just want bodies back there to limit the damage, right? But cover two would be a little bit better for Detroit if you could, if you had a reasonable defense, which we just don't have right now. But anyway, go check that out. It's already up on this channel as well. We did it a few weeks ago. It still holds up. Everything there is still legit. So anyway, thank you all very much. Appreciate everybody over at Box Score Network, and thank y'all for watching.
Please make sure you subscribe to this channel, leave a like and a comment on this video as well if you enjoyed our content. We'd very much appreciate that. And if you didn't, let us know. Like, hey, you guys, but be specific. If you don't like something, be specific on what you don't like. But like, man, that Robertson, he's just such a freaking idiot. Or Ben, like he
Ben's
needs to be in the
face.
front office. He shouldn't be doing YouTube. He needs to be in the front office somewhere. Like, stop wasting your time, man. Get in the front office. Like, if you're
Thank you,
gonna say
Robertson.
something, like be specific. So, um,
He needs to be in the front office of the movie theater handing out tickets.
oh my goodness. No, I mean I'm talking about an NFL franchise. Anyways, thank you all for listening. Hopefully we see you all next week with a or after a win against the Detroit
Yes.
Lions.